as yours doth temperately keep time, and makes but helpful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and
Okay, so I think we saw a scene where Hamlet was telling his mom about how bad of a person she has been. And then now, sorry, the ghost enters, and then Hamlet starts talking to, having a conversation with his late father, or the ghost. And then we said, it's fine, can you see it? We said, because of that, Gertrude now thinks Hamlet is mad. And then the question is, how does that reduce all that Hamlet has been saying? You remember the question? Okay, what was the answer? Unfortunately, what was the answer? Do you remember? Okay, I just gave you a background of what happened. Hamlet has been telling his mother how bad of a person she is, of which she finally sees. But then towards the end of this conversation, the ghost enters, and then Hamlet starts having conversation with the ghost. Problem is, Gertrude cannot see the ghost. So now she's convinced that Hamlet is mad. So the question is, how does that reduce Hamlet's message to Gertrude? Okay. So how does that affect how she received everything that Hamlet was saying? Okay. Now you remember how the scene then ends. Hamlet makes a promise to Gertrude makes a promise to Hamlet. What was the promise? Okay, so she says she won't tell a soul, right? So that's how the scene ends. And we expect Gertrude to actually live up to that, live up to the promise that she makes. Okay.
actions fair and bad begins and worse remains behind. One word more, good lady. What shall I do? Not this by no means that I bid you do. Let the bloated king tempt you again to bed.
Okay, so he asked his mother not to go to bed with Claudius.
Pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and like him, for a pair of reachy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to rattle all this matter out, that I, essentially, am not in madness, but mad in craft. 'Twere good you let him know, for who that's but a queen, fair, sober, wise, would from a paddock, from a bat, to give such dear concerning time? Who would do so? No.
Okay, also what we get from here is that Hamlet finally tells his mother to say, "Mother, I'm not mad, but I'm mad in craft. I've been pretending to be mad." Okay, obviously I'm sure he says this to say, all the things that I've said to you were not out of madness, right? All this time I've been pretending, so that's what he says. But later we learn that Gertrude doesn't necessarily believe that,
in spite of sense and secrecy, unpeg the basket on the house's top, let the birds fly, and hope the ghost come.
Act 4 of Hamlet by William Shakespeare.
Okay, so we know that Polonius is murdered, or Polonius is killed by Hamlet, thinking he was Claudius, right? But also Hamlet is not really sorry that he's done this. So now we are ready for scene 4. Now you remember the promise that Gertrude makes to Hamlet. Let's see if she's able to live up to that. So we're on page 126. Page 126 in the beginning. So we'll take it bit by bit.
This is a LibriVox recording. Oates and Guildenstern. There's matter in these sighs, these profound heaves. You must translate. 'Tis fit we understand them. Where is your son?
Okay, let's deal with that. Gertrude is seemingly depressed, right? She's been sighing all this time. Sighing is a sign of what? Worry, right? Or it could be a sign of what? Being stressed or being depressed. So, Claudius is saying there's matter in these sighs, these profound heaves. And then he says, you must translate. So you got to actually say something. What is wrong? But immediately he asks, where is your son? Now I'm going to pose a question. Is it out of concern that Claudius wants to know what's troubling Gertrude? Or he just wants to know where is Hamlet and whether or not his Gertrude sighing has to do with Hamlet. So now I'm giving you options there. Obviously, you can say something there. Okay, just I don't know waste time, so I'll go for you. Okay. Okay, great. Can you also connect that with his guilt? Obviously, he always has to know about Hamlet. His main worry has been about Hamlet, whether or not Hamlet knows something. The play was an indication, right, that he might know something, and he knows for sure that he knows something. So not necessarily because he cares about his partner, that the partner is worried. That comes from the question, where is Hamlet, which comes immediately after saying your size and all that. Where is Hamlet? Okay, so Langelihle, anything you want to add there? Did you hear what I said? What did I say? Can you repeat what I said? I didn't say ish. Okay, look at the first text, Claudius and all that. What did I say?
Something about what already knowing about whether he's concerned or not.
Okay, Sanda, just quickly summarize. Look at Act 1, Scene 1. There's matter in these sighs, these profound heaves. You must translate. 'Tis feet we understand them. Where's your son? Mm, okay. Is it out of concern or guilt? Okay. Okay. I'm glad that you're able to connect the events. Yes, basically that's basically what I said. Okay, let's move on. Now remember the promise that Gertrude makes to Hamlet? She says, I won't tell a soul, right? Okay, now let's see what she says after this and whether is she compelled to say this or not, or voluntarily she just says it.
Bestow this place on us a little while. Exeunt Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Oh my good lord, what have I seen tonight? What, Gertrude?
Okay, let's deal with that. She says, ah, my good Lord, what have I seen tonight? What is she alluding to? Everything that happened, right? Is she compelled to actually come out clean and say everything? Is she forced? She holds the cards at this point, right? She doesn't have to say. But obviously, maybe her idea is whatever has happened will eventually come to light, right? Because imagine when they are looking for Polonius, where will they say Polonius is? Okay. But I'm just looking into how easy it was for her to say she's not going to tell a soul. Or whether or not did Hamlet mean to include everything that happened, or did he mean some of the things that he says? What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? When Hamlet says don't tell anybody and she agrees, does he also include him killing Polonius or not? What are your thoughts there? Or does he refer to some of the things that he has shared with Gertrude? Yeah. So she will. Okay, that's logic, right? Okay, that's logic. Okay. What do you make of the fact that Gertrude just simply just says what's exactly what happens? Keegan, what are your thoughts there?
Also, it's because she really checked about what she saw.
Okay. Would you also say part of the reason also is that she really believes that Hamlet is mad? Okay, so we'll see that as we read on. Okay, and then Claudius asks, "What Gertrude? How does Hamlet?"
How does Hamlet? hand which is the mightier. And his loudest fit, behind the arras doing something to stir, whips out his rapier, cries, "A rat, a rat!" and in this brainish apprehension, kills the unseen good old man. Oh, heavy deed.
Okay, so let's deal with Gertrude's expression of what has happened. She says Hamlet is mad as the sea and wind when both contend, which is Martyr. So she says she likened Hamlet's madness to when the sea and the wind compete to see which one is stronger. So basically, this is to exaggerate or emphasize how uncontrollably Hamlet is lately in terms of his insanity, how uncontrollable it is. Again, this could also allude to the reason why maybe she decided to just tell on Hamlet. Because really, if she makes a vow with somebody who's mad, do you think that vow is binding or something? Would you say the vow is binding? If she makes it with somebody whom she thinks is mad, do you think she really have to live up to that vow? Okay, this is more like saying your friend tells you that, my friend, I'm going to commit suicide tonight. Don't tell anyone. What do you say? Or you either keep quiet or you say, okay, but you know very well that you are going to tell somebody because you have to save this person. Could that be the reason why Gertrude is telling on Hamlet? Maybe she thinks there's something that can be done to save Hamlet. Will that be logic? If so, why? If not, why? Okay, Kananel, you got to say something. Okay. 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 I think also you could say that line of reasoning is consistent with how Gertrude has been all this time, trying to prioritize Hamlet's well-being, right? Okay.
He'd have been so with us, had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered?
Okay, let's deal with that now. We know that Claudius is a king, right? Claudius learns what has happened. He learns that Polonius has been murdered by Hamlet. Okay, so now this is the response. He says, if you look at line, he says, "Oh, heavy deed, it has been so with us. We had weeping there." Obviously, she seems to be understanding why Gertrude feels this way. Also, she says, if we were also there, we would have felt the same way. So, and then she says, his liberty is full of threats to all. Now, I need to underline that because there's a question. We know already that Claudius and his two boys, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, already have had a caucus, right? Where they agree, where he tells them that I'm going to send you to England with Hamlet because he is a threat. Now, the question here on those bases is, how does, just make a note of it, how does Claudius use this information or use the fact that Hamlet has killed Polonius to his own advantage? You see, the answer is there. How does he use that? How does he capitalize on the fact that Polonius has been murdered by Hamlet? How does he capitalize on that? One of the very things he says what? He's a threat, right? He says he's a threat. So you tell me, how does he capitalize on that? Okay, fortunate. Yes, great. So Claudius is a politician, right? He's going to use this as a premise to send Hamlet away, and also everybody is going to understand. Even Gertrude is going to be understanding. So he's able to ride the wave, basically. So that's what he's doing here. Okay. Why do we say that? We say this because that decision alone has been made even prior to this, right? He called those guys. But now, what's even more surprising is that Hamlet is already aware that this is what Claudius is going to decide. Do you remember? Go to page 119. At the top there. What do you see there? First line. What does Hamlet say? This man shall set me packing. And if you check earlier, he said, go to 118, I must go to England. Okay, so again, you see how Hamlet is all-knowing, right? He seems to perceive events before they actually happen. He says, I must to England. So you can say that it is not against Hamlet's will to go to England, right? Because already he perceives that he will be sent. I must to England, I have to go to England, and then later he says, this man shall set me packing. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Now let's go back to page 133. So I'm going to move on there. Sorry, no, was it 126? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to proceed here.
It will be laid to us, whose providence should have kept short, restrained, and out of haunt this mad young man.
Okay, so let's deal with that. Like I said, I'm highlighting Claudius's occupation, right? He is a king. He says, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It is a bloody deed, right? Because somebody has been murdered, right? So now he says, it will be laid to us. Now, don't be confused by us there. Us is him, basically himself. Why himself? Particularly why himself? Because he is a king, yes. Okay, his authority. So, and then he says, it will be laid to us whose providence should have kept short, restrained, and out of haunt. So they will blame him because he should have done something about Hamlet. That's what he says here. He should have actually kept him confined. Okay, so we know that he's decided to that he's sending him to England, and as well as Gertrude is going to the understanding because she sees the situation.
So much was our love, we would not understand what was most fit. But like the owner of a foul disease, to keep it from divulging, let it feed even on the pig of life. Where is he gone?
Okay, now deal with some of the things that touch on the theme of appearance versus reality. What is Claudius saying here? But so much was our love. We could have kept him confined, but because we love him, so we let him be, right? That's what he says. Is that true? Does he love Hamlet? So again, the appearance versus reality. He appears to love Hamlet, but in reality, he doesn't. So
To draw about the body he hath killed.
then he asks, where is he gone? Then Gertrude again tells us it is. He was dragging the body he has killed. That is Polonius's body. Okay.
Oh, his very madness, like some ore over the mineral of meadow's face, shows itself pure. He weeps for what is done. Oh, Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. And this vile deed we must, with all our majesty and skill, both countenance and excuse.
Okay, so this is what they must face, right? In meaning that Hamlet has to bear the consequences. Okay, now let's just say Claudius was a father. How would he? What was one of the things he would have said when he hears that Hamlet has murdered somebody? Now he says Hamlet must deal with whatever is coming out for him. Okay, and he says what he causes what a vile deed. Where is that? Oh, Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. So immediately we will send him away, right? And this vile deed we must, with all our majesty and skill, both countenance and excuse. Oh, Guildenstern. Okay, so I'll ask the question later. So he says we have to deal with this. This must be dealt with. But first, send him away. Let's ship him to England. Okay, but we know he made this decision even prior to this event. So it's not because of the events that he sends him away. Okay. And then again, Gertrude is still a sheep here, because really, when Claudius made that decision, did he consult? Did he inform Gertrude? No, he did not. Only now that something like this has happened and Gertrude was a witness, so that he says it such that Gertrude can understand. Okay. Comment on the convenience of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern being there at this moment, right after this. How is this convenient that Guildenstern and Rosencrantz are here? Enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. How is it convenient that they just enter and this is the matter at hand? Okay, Keegan.
I think it's very convenient because Claudius calls Guildenstern, and both of them just appear out of nowhere and just enter the scene right as they're called out.
Okay. Also, you remember that already he has called them in private and told them even prior what's going to happen. So even now, everything has been sealed. Even Gertrude is aware of what's going to happen, and they just enter like that. Okay.
Oh, Guildenstern. Re-enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Friends both, go join me with some further aid. Hamlet in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged him. Go seek him out. Speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel. I pray you, haste in this.
Okay. You remember what he tells them initially? Your friend remains a threat. I'm going to charge you to dispatch him to England. Now he comes a second time. He says, your friend in madness has Polonius slain. Do you see how everything just falls into place? Okay. Yes, Keegan.
I do want to also say, Claudius does mention Polonius by name, but when Gertrude spoke about it, she didn't mention that it was Polonius that was murdered.
Okay.
He just said the unseen old man.
Mm.
And also, Claudius seems to always refer to Hamlet as your son,
It shows distance.
his mother.
Okay. Again, you see, it shows what distance, right? They are not very close. Okay. But how is it possible that Claudius knows who the person is? I want to see if you can connect. Yes, Mundi. Yes. Okay, great. Remember, Polonius volunteers that we want to need a third person because mothers are partial in nature. So that basically sends him to his death. Okay, now I want to know how many of you have to finish up? Okay, can I just move you to one side then? Okay, can just move this side. If you are done, move this side.
Whenever something happens between the work and we'll try to keep it between instead of the situation as it is.
Okay, I'm talking about Hamlet's pursuit for revenge. It becomes a personal matter. He doesn't bring it to his mother. Only now that he tells his mother. And also he didn't bring it to the wisest friends or the council. He just took it upon himself to actually chase this goal of avenging. But now we learn that there is counsel because he says there is an issue, right? So we'll call our wisest friends. So I'm thinking these are the people. If then Hamlet really believes that Claudius is wrong and should be held accountable for his action, shouldn't he have consulted in the first place? No, it's just the question I'm asking. Or maybe we can work out the reason why it doesn't. I don't know. Yes, Langeli.
I think he didn't tell the council the wise because he was told by the both Claudius that he will achieve that, they wouldn't believe that.
Okay, yeah, that's logic, man. Can they see the ghost? No. Can Gertrude see the ghost? In fact, does Gertrude even believe Hamlet when he says, I'm seeing my father? Look. What does he say? what does she reduce it to? Your brain, what? Carnage. That's what she says. This is created by your mind. Okay, Keegan, you wanted to say something? Original question was, why doesn't he bring it to the council if there is such a group of? We see Claudius is saying, "Come, we'll call up our wisest friends." So
I do agree with that point. They would just say, "Oh, I heard it from the ghost of my father that it happened." So that is
and it would be very convenient for Hamlet to say, because he doesn't like Claudius in any case. Now to say that I'm seeing a ghost and the ghost is my father, and the ghost says somebody who's married to my mom is the one who killed my father. That's very convenient, don't you think? Very. What if now the essay question was saying, in what way does Hamlet challenges the notion of truth and reality? Suppose, for some weird reason, I know that most of you won't actually go for that. You'll actually leave it and you go for a pie and then you try to do. But what if that was, how would you respond to that in short? How does the play Hamlet challenges our notions of truth and reality? Or how does it? Obviously, I'm being about the ghost in mind, and the fact that the ghost is only seen by Hamlet, so that's why I come up with a question like that. And the fact that nobody will actually believe Hamlet if we were to say that he's seeing a ghost. Ghost is not there. Yeah. Was Horatio there? How convenient is it that Horatio is a friend of Hamlet and they are all seeing ghosts? Okay, thank you for that. I think it's something, we are pointing out something. So in a way, you're saying it's not just about Hamlet, but there are witnesses. There are other people. That's what you're saying. And I think it's a valid point. But how convenient is it that Horatio is there? We know he's not friends with the other soldiers, so you can still argue that, right? Okay, Keegan.
also that one thought that
Okay.
hard to
Okay, does that happen earlier or later? Okay. It's let me see. We have their names, right? How many are they in total? Is it the two guards or three guards? It's Marcellus. Who else? And is Bernardo there? So there's three. So you're right. So okay, but back to the question: how would you respond to that? Would you just leave it and look for alternatives? There was a question about how does Life of Pi, suppose they bring that one for Hamlet and they bring this one for Life of Pi, they say, how does the Life of Pi novel challenges universal truth? Yeah. Uni means one, right? Uni means one. Oh, multiplicity of truth. In a way, that's what it proposes. The novel says there could only be, okay, traditionally we say there's one truth, right? But Pi is able to seek truth in how many religions? 3. So again, it challenges our understanding of what truth is. Okay, but I just hope there's no question like that. But if there is, I'm going to laugh because I'm suggesting it to you now. So just go and do your research on that. Okay, because another thing can be saying, but what if the ghost is truly what Gertrude is saying? The ghost is created by Hamlet's mind as a result of trauma and anxiety and so on. So you start hallucinating, seeing things that are not there. I'm not saying that's the case. We know that the playwright does say that enter the ghost, right? And we can see the ghost speaking, right? But suppose the examiner is one of those university professors who just want to mess your life around. Okay, so you're suggesting that Hamlet is the only one who's worthy to, who has virtue. On what basis, though? On what basis? Okay, all those who have something to do with Claudius, they are not going to. How convenient would it be for Gertrude to see the ghost as a wife? So that's why you say that, man. But he doesn't because, or she doesn't because if she's party with somebody who killed the king, so she's the enemy, you say. But what is the ghost attitude of Gertrude? Leave your mother alone, she's innocent. So again, that argument falls. Maybe not entirely, so to speak. Okay, but suppose I hope this the essay, because sometimes you find that now we are cornered because you can't really answer this question. You don't understand. You need about 2 hours to actually understand this, and you don't have 2 hours. So most people actually look for alternatives. That's survival, right? And I don't want anybody to survive. I want everybody to thrive. You know, when you have options, I can either write here or here, but I choose this because I like this more. I think that's a better position rather than to say, I don't hear this question, I don't hear this one. Let me gamble with these questions. In fact, you know, we've been in those situations many times. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. What does this change now?
And let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done. So come away.
Discord and dismay.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, so what's the conclusion here? They'll call the council or the wise friends and they will let them know. They are informing, right? To let them know both what we meant to do. Okay, obviously, why would this sound better to the council? This is a problem. The problem has happened, and this is what we've done. So these are the measures we've taken. So it sounds fair enough, ne? So Claudius is a politician, you can say. Okay, my soul is full of discord and dismay. Why? Why? Is he worried about, Polonius has died and Denmark is in chaos. As a king, I need to account. What is he worried about, truly? Yes. And Hamlet is surely coming for him. Because Hamlet has proven himself that he is capable. How? Yeah, one body is down, right? Okay.
2. Another room in the castle.
Okay, may I ask just a question? What drives people to madness mostly? Do you think Claudius understands that? I think he does. Could be. Maybe Hamlet is mad because he has found out these things, so that's why he's uncontrollable. And surely he's going to do this. Sometimes chaos will actually drive people to madness, right? Well, I don't seem to have all the answers why someone will actually go mad. Some people see things that they shouldn't have seen. Think about soldiers after they come back after a war. What do you call those episodes that they will normally have? Is what? It's post-traumatic disorders. Okay, but that's just one case. Okay, but now I'm confused now. How much of this is really feigned and how much of it is purely madness? Do you think there's a chance that Hamlet could be somehow mad, as in mad, or he's still feigning it? You see again, you see now it comes back to that other question. How much of it is really truly madness? Or you believe it's all madness because Hamlet is still in control? Do you think there's a chance that he could be mad, but he still thinks he's feigning it? Mm. Okay. Okay, let's talk about killing Polonius and how he reacts after that. Let's say it was a mistake. Did he have any intentions of murdering Polonius or killing Polonius? We don't see him having intentions. Okay, now he has made a mistake, right? He has taken a life. Why doesn't he feel sorry about that? Why does he say, this one, anyway, he deserves to die. He's been too busy. Don't you think that is somehow just a little or small percentage of madness? I don't say agree, but I mean, it would be logical to also think that, okay. Okay, but if the question maybe were to be, an exam question to be how much of it is truly madness, and you have to be able to look into that argument, right? You have to be able to look at the balance. You have to be able to discuss the. If you say no, it's all feigned, then you should be able to also balance that. Usually these questions they have what 3 marks, if not 4. Okay, now we're ready for scene 2. So it is decided, they will tell the council, and then we also dealt with the question inside, what is Claudius thinking? So now, remember the charge was to go to Hamlet, speak to him politely, and then tell him that he will go to England, right? I think that's what I read. Friends both, go join with you some further aid. Hamlet in madness had Polonius slain, and then I think that's what he says. And then he says, go seek him out, speak fair, and bring the body. So the aim now is to retrieve the body, but they have to speak nicely. Okay. Now this is the conversation now. Enter Hamlet.
Enter Hamlet.
Safely stowed.
Hamlet, Lord Hamlet.
What noise? Who calls on Hamlet? Oh,
Okay, what do you make of the question, what noise? This question suggests that they might know, right? Okay. It seems like he caught them off guard, but did he catch them off guard? Okay, we'll find out. Let's continue. Okay. If you look at the director's notebook, it says, safely stored, this is what he says, right? Do we show Hamlet's stuffing Polonius' body into the hiding place, or has he already done that? And this line there, to inform us of completed action, do we have Hamlet on a high again? In this scene, like after Claudius' reaction to the play, or is he more in control of himself, witty, direct, even insulting, but not hyperactive? So these are the questions suggested to you. Okay, but that you can tell as you move on.
Oh, here they come. Enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. What have you done, my lord, with the dead body?
compounded it with dust where it is kin.
Tell us where to, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel.
Do not believe it.
Believe what?
That I can keep your counsel and not my own.
Sorry, do you have that? I don't see it. Where is it? Page what? 127. Tell us where it is. We may take it thence and bear it to the chapel. I thought you were saying do not. I thought I had do not. But we don't have. This is a redacted version because we don't have that here. Okay, let me see.
In the castle. Enter Hamlet.
Safely stowed.
I'm starting over.
Hamlet, Lord Hamlet.
What noise? Who calls on Hamlet? Oh, here they come.
Enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. What have you done, my lord, with the dead body?
Compounded it with dust where it is kin.
Tell us where to, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel.
Do not believe it.
Okay, sorry, I skipped a page. I was on another page. Okay. Do not believe it. Does that make sense? Where's the body want to take it to the chapel? Says do not believe it. Okay, remember those series of questions, whether is he gone back to his madness or not? Okay, Believe it is not a proper, it doesn't make sense, right, in this case. Okay. Believe what? The story or what? So they're going to ask either.
Believe what? That I can keep your counsel and not my own.
Okay, so there you go.
Besides, to be demanded of a sponge, what replication should be made by the son of a king?
Okay, so now he tells them, right, straight. Do not believe what? That I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Now he suggests something, he calls them what? Sponges. What does that mean? What do sponges do? Until you have to, okay, it can, if you put in water, what does it do? Okay, when you squeeze it, what happens? Okay, how is it relevant to them going to Hamlet and coming back to Claudius? Yes. Yes, what's funny about the information they are taking from Hamlet? It's usually false. Why would it be false? Hamlet is giving them, Hamlet is in control in a way, right? He decides what to show them. Okay, it's not the first time really he's calling them out. It's really not the first time. Okay, let me see there. Okay. Okay, it says, do not believe that I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, what is counsel anyway? Ordinarily, what would be counsel? Yes, Keegan. Yes. Okay, it's advice, but here I think it is suggested, follow your advice and tell you while keeping my secret. So is he really intending to hide the body? Okay, so we'll find out. Okay, but calling them sponges, really.
Take your room for a sponge, my lord? Aye, sir, that soaks up the...
Take you me for a sponge, my lord? What do you make of the question? You really think I'm fake? You are fake. When you tell your friends straight in the eyes that they are fake. They say, do you really think I'm fake? Is that how you see me? Okay, let's see how he responds.
King's countenance, his rewards, his authorities.
Okay, yes, sir. A sponge that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities. Okay, what did I say? I think we said that much earlier that what are they in it for? And then we looked at somehow, he talks about the rewards there, right? And then what else does it say? Authorities, so obviously they are favors. Where do they stay when they are there? Okay, is it nice to stay there with the king? Do you know how their breakfast and lunch and supper looks like? It's a feast, né? Okay, but I mean, I think there are more benefits then of being here. So he calls them for who they are, and then he tells them, okay.
But such officers do the king best service in the end. He keeps them like an ape in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed to be last swallowed.
Straight up. If you keep somebody like an ape, what does it mean? Do you value them? They are your plaything, right? Okay, but in the end, he says what happened. Because I really couldn't picture it of having Claudius doing all these dirty, obviously he knows they are spies. Can he trust them? What do you think is the end of how I think the end is to discard everybody, right? You cover your tracks. When you are done, if you have somebody hired to do some dirty work, what would you do? Would you keep them? If while they are alive, obviously they live with what you've done. They know what you've done. So what would you want to do in the end? To tie the loose ends, right? Okay, I think somehow this could be implied there. He says he keeps them like an ape, an apple in the corner of his jaw. Obviously, if they are in the corner of these jaws, are they in danger? Of course, because he might crush them, right? And then first mouth to be last swallowed. That's what you do with spies, basically. You can't partly leave here knowing that you had somebody to kill somebody, and they know that, and they will come back, and they'll use that against you. So what's the logical thing to do? You lose them, right? How do you lose them? I'm not teaching you criminal techniques, but it will be a logical thing. I think it is in line with what he says here. Okay. Now, again, he continues further. This is what he says.
What you have gleaned, it is but squeezing you, and sponge, you shall be dry again.
There you go. What will he do to them? He will squeeze them and they are sponges, and then they will be dry again after they are squeezed. Okay, after they have no use. Okay, now if you look at words and images, it says Hamlet gives his two sometime friends fair warning. Okay, again, they say it's a warning here. They will be discarded once their usefulness is over. So that's what he says basically. It remains to be seen whether they will take heed of it. Obviously, they're enjoying the benefits. Do you think they'll run away and say, oh, what do you think? What else is in that letter of execution that Hamlet swapped? Do you think the reason why we assume that those two would be executed, right? Because he switches the letters, right? We assume. Would you say it's Hamlet's doing that those two become part of people to be executed? Do you think is it Hamlet's doing, or is it because they've been spies and that comes as a result of the job, that comes with the dangers of being... Okay, I don't want to impose. You can think about it.
I understand you not, my lord.
Is Rosencrantz being truthful if he say he understands? Doesn't he understand that he's a sponge, he's a spy? He does, right? But he has to pretend.
I am glad of it. A knavish speech sleeps in a foolish ear. My
Okay.
lord, you must tell us where the body is, and go with us to the king. The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body.
Tell us where the body is. The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. The king is a thing. Okay, this is a riddle, right? Is he telling them where it is? I believe he is. But they have to solve this riddle to actually find the body. Okay, and then he says here, 25 to 6 says, the body is a thing. Hamlet is riddling again, and the meaning of this sentence is not clear.
The king is a thing.
A thing, my lord.
But nothing. Bring me to him. Hide fox and all after.
Excellent.
Where does Hamlet wants to go? To the king. What does he do after this? He runs off. He's crazy again. Why is he running off? Okay, Claudius.
Scene 3. Another room in the castle. Enter King Claudius, attended.
I have sent to seek him and to find the body. How dangerous is it that this man goes loose?
Okay, danger in terms of what? Danger in what context? Danger to him, right? He fears for his life because he thinks that Hamlet might know what he's done. Okay.
It must not we put the strong law on him.
Strong law, so he's going to use what? You must not we put the strong law on him. What would be the strong? What the worst that can happen? Execution. Okay, we'll find out just now.
He's loved of the distracted multitude, who like not in their judgment but their eyes.
Okay, do people like Hamlet? Yes, they do. That's what we find here, right? If that wasn't the case, he would have done whatever he's thinking, right? But because Hamlet is liked, obviously Hamlet is next in line, right? What benefit would it be for Claudius if Hamlet were to die or be executed? Who would be next in line if Hamlet dies? So Claudius remains, right? But we know that's not the real reason. The reason is that his secret will come to light, so that's why he must get rid of
And where
him.
'tis so, the offender's scourge is weighed with never the offence. To bear all smooth and even, this sudden sending him away must seem deliberate pause. Diseases desperate grown by desperate appliance are relieved, or not at all.
Okay.
Enter Rosencrantz. what had befallen. Where the dead body
Okay. Let's talk about Claudius's temperament. What do you think of it? He's very angry, right? Or agitated. You can see that.
is bestowed, my lord, we cannot give from him.
But where is he?
Without, my lord, guarded tonight your pleasure.
Bring him before us.
Ho, Guildenstern, bring in my lord.
Enter Hamlet and Guildenstern.
Okay, I'm sure you can't wait for this conversation. Finally, face to face.
Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius?
At supper.
Does this make sense? Polonius is at supper. Okay, obviously.
At supper. Where?
Not where he eats, but where he is eaten.
Okay. In this supper, Polonius is not eating, but he's being eaten. That will be what? Worms.
A certain convocation of politic worms are eating at him.
Okay, so his body is decaying, yes.
Your word is your only emperor for diet. We fat all creatures else to fat us, and we fat ourselves for maggots. Your fat king and your lean beggar is but variable service. 2 dishes, but to one